Hello and welcome to Transmission. Tonight I am joined by Andrew. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, Andrew, could you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
I'm a trans guy. I started transition in 2009, and I've got a partner, and he went through transition with me, as in that my transition. He hasn't become a girl or something, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, and I've got a son.
Yeah.
And my own business, and I run FTM Shed along with all of that, which is a support group for trans guys. So
Yep.
that's my life in a nutshell.
Yeah, well, hey, look, well, that's done. That's
We finished now.
Yeah, we finished, yeah, exactly.
Done.
So you went, 2009, so I hope you don't mind me mentioning, so a little bit perhaps older than
Oh, yes.
other people when they sort of...
Well, it's interesting. I think there's lots of guys coming out older now, but that's because, if you look at the medical situation, if I had actually applied to get any medical intervention 1 year earlier, I would have been not qualified under the rules at the time, because I didn't identify as a lesbian. I had a man as a partner. I had never been sexually attracted to women. And at that time, only trans guys were all butch lesbians, weren't they? That was all. There weren't any gay ones.
Yeah, I mean, of course not.
So,
yeah.
no gay men in this village.
No.
So, no, I wouldn't have received any help anyway. So when you look at the figures of people transitioning now and the ages, we've now got the whole gamut going with the guys, because we've got the young ones coming through, of course, because it's more acceptable and natural, and the old ones because they couldn't get through before.
Yeah, okay, well that sort of makes sense. So how was that? So transitioned whilst in a relationship, so that presumably means that when you first got together, were you outwardly identifying as female?
Yeah. I looked like a girl.
Yeah.
I had double D tits and long hair and the stiletto shoes and the whole bit happening. And people asked me, I remember my first appointment at my GP to get a referral to the gender clinic. I walked in and very nervously said, I think I'm a guy. And this guy's got a really dry sense of humour, and he says, well, you're not trying very hard, are you? And I've gone, what the hell? I'm like, what? But yeah, I found my own life before transition, flipping between really femme and not. As you'd get that idea that if I just got the right dress or the right handbag or the right hairstyle or the right thing, it'd all click in and I'd be right. But then when it'd fail again, you'd get all the hair cut short and go into bouts of depression.
And so, you know, that sort of going hyperfem and all that sort of stuff to try and feel comfortable, I suppose? Is that...
Try to push yourself across the line. You just think, well, how do all the other girls do it? You know, why can't I just quite get there?
Yeah. And so in terms of when you sort of met your partner, so...
How did he see me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a really weird one. I had just found out that, because I'm pre-internet, you know, I'm old. So I had just found out that there was any possibility of what I could do medically and transition. And I was at the end of a femme stage.
Yeah.
And I realised what I was going to do. So I didn't need to do the depressed haircut thing and go into the guy's clothes again. I just thought, okay, I'll just do this nice and smoothly with the doctors in hand. And we met in a gay bar because I was going there because that's how I identified, even though I hadn't done anything on the outside yet, but I knew I was in the process. So, yeah, we met. And I was talking to my then best friend about transitioning.
Yeah.
And I was getting kicked under the bar table. Like, he's like, someone's walking up, you can stop now, change topic. And I thought, nah, stuff it. So from the very first day we met, he knew that everything was not as it seemed.
Yeah, okay. Which I suppose may have made it a bit easier in terms of that he was...
You'd think so, but I don't know.
No?
It's like if you're looking at someone, and this is to be fair for the world, if you're looking at someone and for all the world they look like, sound like a woman, they can tell you they're a guy, but it only sinks in so far.
Yeah.
So as the whole process of transition occurred, yes, he was on board and yes, he'd been told, but how much of it he absorbed? It's absorbed in a slow process as you go.
Yeah, like anything, I suppose. Any sort of change in any relationship would, you know. And so you've got a son. So how old's your son?
He's 21.
He's 21. So how was that conversation?
Oh, that was cool. He was the first person I told outside my mother as a child, which is entirely another kettle of fish. So he'd come out as gay about a year before and was struggling along with it all at school. And I came out to him and said, you know, that really I identify as a guy. And he said, well, duh, as teenagers do, man of many words not. Duh. And I said, could you elaborate just a little bit? And he said, well, you know, he'd come home from school and say, oh, somebody jumped on his back on the way down to cricket training or something. I said, oh, well, that means they like you, you know, you're buddies. Why are they attacking me? I don't get it. You know, so I was continually explaining male behaviour to him.
Yeah.
And so to him, it seemed perfectly natural that he had seen the signs and couldn't understand why the rest of the family hadn't.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, really?
The only problem we had with my son, which I talked to the doctors about, and I think it's still out there for everyone who's got a child, is what words do they use? While he was still in the school age thing, there's no word for it. No child says to all the others, oh, this is my parent. They don't use that word. It's not common street language. And so he tried that didn't work. And I said, well, how about you call me Andrew? That's cool. So there you are with the kids, oh, this is Andrew, you know, and then Andrew leaves and all the kids say, so who's that? It doesn't go away.
Yeah.
At that age, they don't have a way to get around it.
Yeah. And so how did you sort of grapple that? So how did
we
you
avoided it until he got out of school.
Yeah.
And then it goes away. The minute you're at uni age or after school for working or whatever, people don't ask that question anymore. They can just say, oh yeah, this is Andrew, and when Andrew leaves, they don't ask who's Andrew. You're allowed to know adults when you're older, but as a kid, who's this adult that you were talking to?
Yeah, exactly. Well, cool. So thank you for coming in and having a slightly brief discussion about a little bit about your life.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Andrew, for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
No worries. So you've been watching Transmission.